Well, today is a sad day. Our trusty Toshiba TV that we've relied upon for years, it just flashes when you try to turn it on and we get no screen. It is displaying, it's just the backlight is burned out on it. It's a 1080p screen with no smart functions. I think it's time to say goodbye to it. So what am I going to replace it with? Well, that's what today's video is about. Here we have the best of Walmart. The TCL QLED 4K TV, a 55-inch super cheap TV. It's the model 55Q51K. I couldn't find any reviews of this online, but I've heard that the Q7 is the better line from TCL and the Q6 is decent. No idea about the Q5 though. So we're gonna find out if this actually is decent. I'll just say it was $268 before tax at Walmart. Had to get a new TV to replace our 1080p one. So, you know, for a 55 with Google TV baked in, you know, maybe it's not too bad. But I'm super cheap. Couldn't quite pull the trigger on a 65-inch. And the TV we have there is a 49-inch. So 55 will be an improvement, I think. Enough talking. Let's get it unboxed. Looks like we got some legs here, which we're not going to use because I've got a VESA mount on here. We've got the TCL remote, and this is a bigger remote, which is kind of nice because the Google TV remote, my children would lose this remote constantly. This one will be a little bit less easy to lose. Oh, what do we got? Netflix, Prime, YouTube, TV, Apple TV? Okay. TCL TV and Disney Plus. And of course you got your usual setup instructions. TCL protection plan, 90-day warranty extension. Okay, let's get started. I've heard that the speakers on it aren't quite the greatest, but I've got a sound bar that's attached to my TV, so I'm guessing, oh, these are the mount screws probably for the base legs. Got your power cord, a couple of TCL branded AAA batteries. Ooh. That's probably all we're gonna get in the box. So enough babbling, let's get this thing out of here. This is a big piece of padding for the screen. Yeah, I'm gonna lay this down. Plus I got a bum foot right now, so. There we go. It's not that these are so expensive. It's just, you know, they're fragile. They're made in China. Nothing else in the box. Just TV, padding. I'm gonna stand it up. I'm gonna put the legs on. You got USB 3, Ethernet, and 3 HDMIs. Your antenna in, and your optical. And then on the other side, got your power. Single button there, turn on the TV, and I'm guessing cycle the inputs, and any pertinent information. We'll pop our lovely TCL batteries into the remote. And let's give it the on button with the remote. Hey, there we go. We've confirmed it turns on. I'm gonna finish the peel here. Oh, is this a whole screen? It's a little unnerving how it does that. So there is a little bit of bleed that you can tell from the footage here. Set up as basic or as Google TV. Oh, that's pretty cool. I like that. I wish Roku's would give you that. One of the big reasons I got this is it was a Google TV, so I want to set up Google TV. So I'm going to set this up with the app on my phone, and then we'll get it to the home screen. Okay, now that we've gone through the whole setup process, it wants me to pair my remote. Oh, it's doing something. Your TV and remote are now paired. Sign in with the TCL. No. Setup complete. And now we wait. Here we go.
3, 2, 1. Oh my God,
Look at all these apps. Oh my goodness. This has a voice button. I'm gonna try it. Plex.
Here's Plex. Stream movies and TV on the Google Play Store.
Nice. This Google TV is decently fast. We'll see if it stays fast. So the kids have taken over testing. And now we're watching Level Up. Looks pretty good though. Oh, may need to resolve that. Alright, so it's another day, and after a little bit more tweaking and setting up and logging into things, I got my soundbar mounted underneath it with some arms so that if I turn the whole TV, then the speaker bar, the sound bar, isn't just facing forward. So like if I'm in the kitchen, turn the TV and still hear the sound nice. So anyway, that's beside the point. I could do a review here of just like how the TV looks and all that, but that's not my area of expertise. I don't know how to do that properly. I don't know how to adjust the colors and make it all nice and awesome. I think it looks fine. It's a QLED, apparently is what they say, and I think it's just an LCD with LED backlighting. It doesn't have local dimming or anything like that, so if that's important to you, this doesn't have it. So anyway, I'm gonna do what I know, and that's gonna be checking out the performance of the system. It's got Google TV, which is basically Android. So I want to run AIDA64 here and see what it has. So we have 2 gigs of RAM, it looks like. Looks like only 8 gigs of total storage, which is kind of limited, but it's actually been a pretty snappy interface, so they've at least paired a good CPU with it. The CPU is 2X ARM Cortex-A55 and 2X ARM Cortex-A75, and it's 64-bit. Looks like 1200 megahertz on a couple of the cores. They did have to put enough horsepower in this CPU that they put in it to push 4K 60. It seems like they're doing that. Wi-Fi, I've got it hooked up. It does have Ethernet, as you saw earlier. But yeah, it seems like it's, having no problems with streaming. I played some videos last night from my Plex server and it seemed fine at 1080p. I didn't do any 4K. Android 12, looks like it's what it has. Android 12 Snow Cone. Power VR B Series VXE. The next thing I want to do, I'm sure why you're here, is does this game at all? So I've installed Moonlight. Yeah, it's pulling the systems that we have. Lemuroid. I love Lemuroid because it's such a lightweight emulation app. And you can run your basic NES all the way up to PS1 with very little settings adjustments, and it's pretty simple to use. And we're gonna find out. We're gonna test it, see what it does. I have my 8BitDo SN30 Pro. It's a SNES style gamepad with Bluetooth. So I'm gonna test connecting this in a second and see if that even pairs. X input mode. Look at that. It works. No, don't do that. So it's a little bit of a trick to get things on here. Back in the day when Google TV with Chromecast was fresh, I could install Solid Explorer and just manage the file system that way. I could connect to my network shares and pull in my ROMs and stuff. But now they've locked down the OS so that you have to use, I think you have to use ADB to transfer. I'm gonna do that, put it in a folder and test it out. And we're gonna see how that goes. Oh, look at that. It's allowing me to do ADB over Wi-Fi. So if you go into your system and then go to About, and then you go to the Build, you just keep tapping on this, and it'll say 4321, and then you're a developer. And then when you go back, you can scroll down in the system, and then developer options will show up here under Power and Energy. So I turn on USB debugging so I can transfer things and stuff like I did. To make things more snappy, I go to the window animation scale. You could go to off if you want, but I switch it from 1x to half x. I do that for all 3 of them, and it just makes everything feel so much more snappy. I just run minimal ADB and fastboot. I just connected to the IP address at 5555, And then that's how I got that approval prompt. So you can download this app called ADB Explorer, and you can connect to it. Let's see. So we can sideload APKs here, and we can browse the file system. There it is. There we go. So the root we don't usually mess with, but internal storage we'll go to. So if you go to the internal storage folder, you go to Android, Data, and then com.swordfish.lemuroid, and then Files. There's a ROMs directory. And I think that's where we need to drop the files into. Okay, finally have all the files copied into the ROMs folder. So let's see if Lemuroid will pick it up now. It's finding things. It pulls down like the box art and stuff. Yeah, all the buttons seem to be working. It seems decently responsive too. Let's do SNES. So every time you push a button on your controller, the light at the bottom of the TV lights up. At least that light is really unnoticeable, so it shouldn't bother you too much. So yeah, that totally works. Let's try another game. I got GTA 2. Let's see how this plays. This is probably about the extent of Lemuroid's emulation capability. You hear the audio's a little bit glitchy. Yeah. I don't know if that's the processing power of the Google TV or if that's just Lemuroid. But there's not a lot of cutscenes in this game, so let's go into the gameplay. Let's see if there's any settings to adjust that. Huh. Oh yeah! So turning on the dynamic recompiler option really smooths it out. And the gameplay even seems a little smoother too. Lemuroid has just the right options to make things work. So yeah, PlayStation emulation directly on this cheap Google TV. N64 is always a crapshoot, but we'll give a little bit of Mario. Oh, Mario a try. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, so this works fine. This seems pretty good. This is better than the Google TV with Chromecast, actually. So this has got more juice to it. Let's test some game streaming with Moonlight. Let's do Sonic Unleashed. There we go. I don't have to sign into Steam then. Wow. That looks really good. There's not even like a delay really with how things look. Slight hiccup there, but even at 15 megabit per, yeah, there's some hiccuping. Here we go! So yeah, that pretty much confirms that it's working. This TV is pretty great. Not gonna lie, it's actually a little smoother and connects a little easier than my Google TV with Chromecast did. So I would totally recommend this for 268 bucks if you just need a basic TV that, you know, has Google TV in it. I recommend that just because Android is more flexible. That's been the TCL Q5 series. QLED, whatever. Numbers, letters, cheap stuff at Walmart. They have this in 65-inch, which is another $120. So I don't know if I would necessarily spend that on this. There are probably some better options, but I mean, for what it is, it's not bad. Connectivity options are pretty decent. I mean, I've got the Switch hooked up and the Wii U. So I finally have a TV back again in our living room. Anyway, that's been all for today's video. So if you like this content, be sure to like and subscribe and share it with others if you want them to also see this content. Really appreciate you watching. You have a great week. Take care. God bless.